Hello, friends, and welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. My name is Scott Cowan, and I'm the host of the show. Each episode, I have a conversation with an interesting guest who is living in or from Washington State. These are casual conversations with real and interesting people. I think you're going to like the show. So let's jump right in with today's guest. I'm sitting down today with Jesse and Jared Verdeen of Champagne Sunday, and I'm laughing because, well, you know, intros are always hard for me, folks. You all know that. Anyway, welcome. Thank you both for sitting down with me. Mm-hmm. So we got to get the housekeeping out of the way right away.
Yep.
We all know the same person.
Yeah.
And I want you, one of the two of you have to be the first person to say something nice about Raymond Hayden.
Oh, it's going to be hard.
Something nice?
You want to do it? I mean,
I don't know if I can.
honey, we're trying to just not lie. We're trying to be really honest on this show.
All right. Well, that was a failure. So welcome to the show.
He wears nice shoes.
Ray Hayden is, and you know what? And he'd give them to you if you asked him for it.
Yeah, Ray's a great guy.
He's probably one of the most genuine.
It's harder to find something bad to say about Ray.
Yeah. But it's fun to pretend.
But we can make it up. I mean, that's half the fun of it. Because we don't know that he's going to listen. I mean, you know.
Sure.
He does have that butt beard he always has to have trimmed.
Right.
Okay. So, on that.
Don't have me on the show.
What? So, the two of you moved here from California.
Yes.
You know, nobody ever moves to Washington from California. So this is very unusual to talk to people. But no, in all seriousness, you guys moved here from California. But where did you meet?
We met down in California at a restaurant. I was booked at a place, and her boyfriend at the time was the manager. He booked me.
Okay.
So he called her up and said, "You got to come hear this guy." She was like, "I'm in my jammies. I don't want to come listen to some dude." And he kept telling me, like, "You got to hear my girlfriend play. She's awesome, and she's got this great voice."
That's kind of the thing that musicians maybe hate a lot. It's like, "Oh, you should play with so and so," or "You got to hear my best friend or my cousin or my girlfriend." Right. It's always just like, because you know they really suck. But
we wound up on stage together
that night.
She came down that night. We sang a song that was kind of like, "You know this one?"
Yeah,
like, you know this.
It's like a kind of a B-side Counting Crows tune from August and Everything After. And, and we sang it together, and there were like some really sparkly, sort of beautiful moments in there, and we didn't. Neither one of us wanted to.
We didn't like each other.
We didn't like each other. We didn't want to admit that we enjoyed it. We didn't want to admit that we felt like there was like some musical chemistry. So we didn't, and it took like another year.
I was in a band that was kind of struggling. She was in a band that was struggling.
Yeah.
And both bands were sort of falling apart slowly at the same time.
And his drummer wanted to play with me, and I already had a bass player. And I was like, "Ooh, I don't feel safe like doing that." Feels like almost worse than cheating on your spouse if you like take another bandmate from like a band. I don't know. To me, that just felt bad. So I called Jared and was like, "Hey, so you guys aren't doing much, and Byron wants to come and play drums with my project. How do you feel about that?" And it was like really quiet and just sort of weird on the other line. And, you know, after like a lot, he's like, "You know what? My band is just not doing anything. So fuck it, I'm in." And I was like, because I said to him, like, "You could join too, you know?" And it was such a great transaction because I got a drummer. I got Jared, who could do everything, and be like a musical writing partner. And Jared brought in his bassist, but we already had a bassist. So that bassist became our lead guitar player. And he was so good on lead guitar.
He was shredding, yeah.
At the time, Jared was sort of the utility guy. He did like keys, second rhythm, because I played rhythm, not well, but I played rhythm. And so Jared did like, you know, tambourine, harmonica, just kind of a whole bunch of. And at one point he was like, "Why am I even in this band? I don't even know what I'm doing here." Like, and we fought a lot in those early days about music.
And we worked together. She ended up marrying the guy that introduced us.
Yeah.
And I actually sang her down the aisle at the wedding.
Yeah. It was like,
I became friends with him before I became friends with her. And I would just go over to hang out with him, and she would be there. And
gross.
So we'd be drinking and hanging out all night long. And we
just
got
became friends.
Yeah, just got to know each other.
So 2005, it kind of went like this. I got married in March to my ex. In May 2005, we started Champagne Sunday. By August, September, my ex and I had split on his recommendation that I probably should be with Jared instead. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
What?
Like I hadn't seen, other than like if we were drunk or something and I was like, oh, hey, it wasn't really like that. I didn't have that kind of vibe with Jared. I was his wingman. I would like help him get, like dates and stuff. I didn't care. We were just buddies. And that's what I think my ex saw that and was just like, oh shit, there's no room for me in this.
Okay.
And we were, and he was much older than I was. And I think he just had a little bit more, he just seen life a little bit more than I had and could really see the signs. We're still really good friends actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, by November of 2005, Jared and I were dating, and like literally, so this year we're celebrating 20 years of Champagne Sunday, 20 years of Jared and Jesse. We never looked back.
Champagne Sunday.
Yeah.
Why not just mimosa?
Because mimosa insinuates the thing.
Right.
But Champagne Sunday could be all kinds of things. And
Champagne's classy. Champagne's always for celebration.
But it's bubbly. It's exuberant. Sundays are for family, football, kicking back. If you choose to go to church, fine. It's also a time of like just kind of re-centering yourself for the rest of the week. It's a day off. People like to go Sunday driving. I mean, it's just a really good feeling, the idea. And my ex actually picked the band name as well.
So also a thing about Sunday is there's this group of people that like to get together and get depressed by watching the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
sorry,
a
that
club.
was a cheap shot.
It's all right.
It was earned. It's okay.
Yeah, we're called the Bills Mafia, and
So the thing about to hijack this, the thing about the Bills fans is when you see pictures of the stadium and you see them wading to their seats in the snow.
Yeah,
you gotta like.
There's true misery in that.
You gotta tip your cap to them though too. At the same time, it's like that's dedicated.
They're there.
Because if I go to a Seahawks game and I'm going to get my Nordstrom Timberland boots wet, I'm not going to go. I mean, I'm not going to.
Right.
Tell him the game you played in.
So I was in the marching band for the game the Bills played against the Oilers. That was the greatest comeback in NFL history.
Okay.
I was in the marching band.
Okay.
That played the halftime show for that game.
So
I don't remember anything about that game. Was there any bad weather there that day, or?
No, but it was because
Buffalo's
of my
not great weather.
husband trombone section that
okay.
the Bills actually came back.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they were
win.
down by like 3 or 4 touchdowns at the half.
Okay.
And they came back and ended up winning. It was unreal.
Well,
Good job, honey.
Blind squirrels find nuts once in a while too. I mean, it's I mean, come on. I mean, no.
But not the greatest nut ever in history. That's
no. So, I like the naming, the logic behind the name actually. So, all right. So you met, you had kind of this meandering way to the relationship. Okay, now we've got 20 years of history combined.
Yeah.
And now you're in Tacoma.
Yep.
That opens up a lot of questions. But you're in Tacoma.
Yeah.
And you're releasing, is it your 10th album?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am not a musician. I used to say I could play a good stereo. Now I got a good playlist on my phone. What little I know, and I have a lot of friends that were independent musicians. Okay.
Yeah.
A couple of my friends won a Grammy. They've done well for themselves, kind of. But when I think of musicians, and I'm no shade here, even though I've been kind of teasing you the whole time.
It's all right.
It seems like you're taking a vow of poverty. It seems like the industry isn't. They don't value artists.
No.
It seems like. I don't want to say the deck is stacked against you, but it certainly seems that way.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, the industry certainly doesn't value its artists, but the people do.
Okay.
And that's where we put our attention.
Okay. So
let's
so
let's
so
get in
so
with the
many artists struggle, and
Totally.
for many independent artists, it's a hobby. It's they get on stage on a Friday night, they the Airport Tavern in Tacoma, maybe they get a midweek show or something. Dawson's, they go play with the band.
Jam.
These are all Tacoma venues, folks, if you're not familiar.
Right.
And and they have the dream of being a quote unquote rock star, all right,
Yeah.
or famous musician.
Yeah.
But you guys, 20 years of doing this, 10 albums, and you just kind of gave the secret away, I think, is that you focus on your audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which seems really, really obvious,
Okay.
but I don't see a lot of other musicians doing it.
It's a hard thing to do.
It is hard.
It's a
Because sometimes there's only 3 or 4 of them that come up to a show, and
Yeah.
you have to say, well, what do you guys want tonight?
right.
And you
then
just,
you've got to be able to give it to them. And sometimes what they want is not what they really want, and or what they need.
yeah, that's real.
So it's like you have to be able to relate to them and to entertain them in a way that they're ready to accept.
And also that they can't find at home, that they can't get on TV or on Spotify. There's an actual heart-to-heart connection. There's something, and I think coming out of COVID, lots of things shifted in the real live entertainment industry. It became so much more about the communion between like people and artists, the relationships.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I'm not like it.
And I think as an original artist too,
Yeah, that's where I was going to go.
The trick is to be inspired by something. And a lot of times the easiest thing to be inspired by is the poverty that you're living in or the misery of whatever's happening around you. And
But we don't write that way.
that can be a hard thing for an audience to relate to.
Right.
But sometimes I like to say that if you climb deep enough inside your own head, you come out somebody else's. So you've got to get in touch with some of those core things that are inside you that suddenly you find a commonality with everybody else.
Yeah.
And that it's a hard place to go, and it's a hard place to be every night when we're singing. A lot of times we'll hit on stuff that is just really emotional for us, and it's hard to get through the songs. But I think that's a good place to be. People want to see that. People want to experience that
They just want
connection.
something real.
It's like, oh my God, I feel that way too.
But also, it's not just like, oh, we're writing about all these emotions. Like Jared and I see the world just a little bit brighter. And I'm not trying to be like, oh my God, sunshine, rainbows. Blah. But I remember being about 22 and I was doing all these open mics and I wanted to be so like broody, and I would like wear my hoodie up over my head. And my mom came to a show one time and just said, how is it that the most joyful human being I've ever known in my life doesn't channel any of that in her writing? And I was like, because it's so hard to write positive things and joyful stuff. And I took that as such a challenge. And if you listen through our catalog, you can't help but be like, wait a minute, there's such a light at the end of the tunnel with these guys. Like we're not sitting there trying to pretend that life isn't what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But we also aren't giving it that power over us. It's like, yeah, okay, these things, and we're all in this together. But that is a big part of what draws our core audiences to us, because they're like, I needed to feel something real and joyful tonight. Not phony, not goofy. I didn't need to go to like a comedy,
Mm-hmm.
but they get that sometimes with us too. But it's just
A lightness.
yeah.
The sad old earth must borrow its mirth, but has trouble enough of its own. And I think sometimes we need to be that mirth that they can borrow.
You would be amazed. This is the other thing about live entertainment and how incredible this is, that we get to hear from people right then and there in real time, like taking our hands, and they'll say, you guys, you have no idea how much I needed this tonight. You have no idea. I'll have people come up to me and say some of the most heartbreaking things you can imagine. Case in point, very quick story. A woman came up to me. Oh, I was passing her on the way to the bathroom at a set break. And I said, God, you're just so beautiful.
And she had looked like something was wrong.
I said, you're so beautiful. How you look so sad though. I'm so sorry. Whatever's going on, I'm sorry. Can I give you a hug? And I put my arms around her. And for the next 45 minutes, this woman wept onto my shoulder and told me she had just buried her stillborn child in her backyard after this horrendous birthing thing.
Almost full term.
She tells me this story and says, your music helped me today. I'm like, right? So I'm taking all this home with me every night, people talking about, because people come to our shows and they find that like release.
They can let go of stuff.
Yes. Unfortunately, they like to give it all back to me. And as sort of like an empath, as I've gotten older, really having to deal with, this is not mine. This isn't my pain. I'm just a vessel right now. And
Just holding it for someone.
I'm holding it and I can leave it here. I can let it go. But it's taken me years to be able to understand that. But I think our job, coming all the way back to the poverty of musicians and whatever, it's so big, it's so much bigger than just, oh, we play music and we're broke right now. It's just not any of that. It's like we're going out and it's like a mission. It's not in a religious way, but in a connecting human spirits, because that is going away as we speak right now. It's just that connection, that human connection is being replaced with so many other things. So it is absolutely imperative that we do what we do.
I was kidding when I said the vow of poverty, but something through what you guys both just shared kind of strikes me, and that is, I mean, I know nothing about your finances. I don't need to know anything about your finances. Like, who cares?
Right.
And you could be, actually, folks, I can see they're sitting on stacks of $100 bills. I'm just kidding. They don't see them, but okay, no. But in all seriousness, you seem like you're genuinely enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah.
Many people go to work 9 to 5 and they hate what they're doing and they can't wait for Friday night and they hate Sunday evening. And they might be making money, but they're miserable.
Yeah.
So I think I applaud you both for taking a path that works for you. It won't work for everybody.
No.
But it works for you, and that's all that matters, is that it's the right path for you, the two of you and your son
We've been also really, really fortunate to have an incredible amount of outside help, just an abundance.
But see, I think I'm of the opinion when people are locked into the right thing, it's easier to help them.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's easier to find help, and it's easier for help to find you. And so that's kind of how I feel about it.
I agree.
Jared, I want to ask you a question. You guys have been together as a band 20 years.
20 years.
About how many shows have you performed?
We average around 100 or so a year, at least.
So a couple thousand shows.
Probably, yeah.
We'll knock off the couple COVID years. That'll bring your average down.
Sure.
So a couple thousand shows.
Yeah. Just as Champagne Sunday.
Right. So it's not, I mean, when you think about it, if you think about it, going back to the terms of 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, right? That's not that many hours of work. I don't think being on stage is the work part of the business. So, So, and approximately how long is a typical show for you guys?
2 to 3 hours.
Okay, so
between 2 and 3.
So you've let's just say 5,000 hours on stage. All right.
Yeah.
How many hours do you think you spent promoting the band over the last 20 years? Not practicing, not writing, the marketing of the band.
The marketing has been
gross.
Yeah, because we're so difficult to market. Like,
you get stuck on my podcast. I mean,
it was a giant. It was a giant hill for us to conquer, even just defining what the hell we were.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally had to land on creating
make up a genre.
We
Yeah.
called ourselves glam folk.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to make sense in what we do. And
Because
to
we're
other
folk
people.
artists. I mean, we sing these songs about just life and love.
But
and
we would get kicked out of folk
experience.
festivals.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
not kicked out.
We just wouldn't be invited. I guess.
Traditional folk festivals.
Yeah.
But things are so different now because there's so
We're getting
many
there.
spliced genres that it's hard to even.
Yeah.
We aren't traditional folk, but
No.
we aren't punk. We aren't rock.
But
we aren't.
I to get back to your point, I'd say probably 2 or 3 times that amount
Yeah.
just in promotion. And, you know, I do a lot of the graphic work and web design, and
Everyone should
video
have a
stuff.
Jared in their band.
yeah, I'm the behind the scenes guy doing all that. But that takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And luckily we have the time to do it. And because we don't have the resources to really outsource it anywhere. So, yeah,
So-
it's a big part of it.
So you're playing on average a couple of nights a week.
Yeah.
If 100 shows a year, it's a couple nights a week on average.
Right.
You know, you
On a-
might do 3 or
yeah.
4 this week, maybe take a week off. You know, you deserve some time off type thing.
Yeah.
Since COVID.
Yeah.
Because I think the music business is pre-COVID,
Different.
we can't even talk about it anymore. I just think it's not relevant from what I've been told and from what I've observed. So post-COVID, as an independent artist, what's gotten better post-COVID?
The appreciation, I think.
Okay.
The appreciation for a live experience.
Okay.
Especially right after COVID, people were just salivating for a human connection of any kind like sharing oxygen with someone.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge at that time. And so many of the artists, I think, kind of, I don't want to say atrophied during the COVID times, but something similar to that. Because I know everyone was playing, everyone was doing stuff, but we really worked on, I don't want to say rebranding, but polishing up the show and trying new stuff. And so we came out just swinging for the fences.
Because we also made a record during that time.
Yeah.
Like, honestly,
And that record was very transformative.
we made a
for
record
us.
and it was huge for us. So we just sunk into our work.
So right after COVID,
Yeah.
I think we came out of the gates just guns blazing.
Yeah.
Since then, I think the world has returned to some unfortunate habits.
This last year was probably our hardest year, honestly.
So 2024?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't feel like it's getting better.
Okay.
I'm not certain about there's a billion different factors that we could all point to that are leading to those things. And that's why we feel like it's more important, it's like more critical now than ever to stay the course, to keep going and keep putting out stuff and keep performing. But it's hard because the people aren't buying CDs almost at all.
Yeah. Physical music is hard to sell. these
So
days.
we printed this new album on vinyl.
Okay.
And we're really excited about it, but that also comes with a whole new set of challenges. Like, we're listening to it and we're kind of like, there's a lot of work put into this record and we're not barely hearing it.
Granted, we have an absolute
Shit for
just an ass.
like the worst record
Record
player
player.
ever.
Okay.
Ever. Might as well put it on our toilet and been like, why can't we hear it? So that's a thing. But anyway, all that aside, it's just important that we keep putting out art and keep going. And in the post-COVID world, I think like Jared said, the first year right out of it, it was like a
First
great
few.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. First year and a half. And then I don't know. But like I told you early on, we play a gig at SeaTac Airport once a week, sometimes twice a week. We've been part of this music program there for almost 11 years.
So that's with Ed Beeson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah. And that's an amazing sort of petri dish of what are like a little sampling of our whole world is in an airport. And we get to see that weekly and kind of touch on so many things. Last week, I went by myself to play a gig, which I'm going to tell you, 20 years I have been playing music with this incredible man right here. 2 times have I performed by myself. Last week was one of those times, and I felt like I was trying to swim across a lake with one arm. It was daunting at best, but I did it because we need the money and because I felt like it was still important I go and show up.
Sure.
During this show of mine, where I was feeling incredibly vulnerable and just thinking, oh my God, I'm just playing these songs and they sound really naked and really simple and really like
stripped down,
just sophomoric. I was feeling like, oh, they aren't as amazing as when he adds all his like beautiful stuff. And I had several people come up to me during the day, tears streaming down their faces. Like, I needed that. Like, this man just grabbed my hand and he couldn't even look me in the face because he just couldn't look at me. He was crying. He was like, you have no idea. I didn't even know I needed that. I have to go, but thank you. So you're seeing, like, again, coming back to that human connection, you're seeing in real time that your art is changing people. Mm-hmm. And you can't just go out and be like, I'm going to change the world. But you can go out and think, I'm going to maybe change one person's day. I'm going to maybe change a mind today about the way we see things, about the way we relate to one another, whatever that might be. Mm-hmm. And so even though things are dropping off as far as like the way people contribute to their artists, we actually have really great merchandise, which we'll get to later. That's a way we make a lot of money.
The Buy My Shirt tour.
Because I like tapped into what people like to buy. Mm-hmm. And we will just order all this great stuff. We have like 17 different shirt options for people. I'm not kidding you. And I just ordered some joggers. So, wow. But it's crazy because people will buy all kinds of stuff because they want to support an artist, but they almost will never buy the music because you can get it for free, right? So we're like, great, let's put our money into all these like clothing items and swag. But going all the way back, it's important that connection is it's like there's no other reason to do this. It's like literally, I might as well be a studio musician if we don't want to connect with other human beings.
Right.
Okay. Interesting. The gigs for you at SeaTac. That's not true. One time I traveled through and there was somebody playing. I have never, only one time. And I think it's kind of, on the surface, I think it's kind of weird. Like, who's going to pay attention to the artist as we're walking? We're running our flights late, or our flights early, or TSA just groped me, or I just paid $12 for a small cup of coffee and it's terrible. Or the airport experience is
horrible
for me. But you are not the only musician that I've had on that's talked about the interaction with the public. So I'm obviously wrong, and it is obviously working at a level. Because I think people need. I hate flying. That's not true. I hate
the process of it.
I hate the process of the airport. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I'm not crazy about being on the airplane, but the airport is miserable for me. And maybe I need to slow down and pay more attention to the environment around me. And so I'm glad that this. I mean, how many musicians are doing this? I mean, there's a lot of you doing this.
There are. The roster has quite a few, maybe 60 plus. Yeah.
So, very early on, you mentioned having to perform for a very small audience, 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to ask you, as artists, from what I've been told, a lot of the energy that you get on stage is what you pick up from the audience.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of energy, from 3 or 4 bodies in a venue, and especially if it's a big venue, then it's really, kind of almost, well, frankly, it's depressing for me. But how do you, and I think you kind of alluded to the answer, but I'm just going to redirect the question. How do you find the inspiration to deliver a great performance regardless of the audience size?
Size doesn't really matter.
Careful.
Well, ew. The size of the crowd. The size of the crowd can be small, but if they're engaged, which if they're there, then there's a real good chance that they're in it.
Right.
That is worth more than a room full of people that could give two shits whether you're there or not. We've played in Nashville to a place where
there were like 200 plus people there,
but they were all watching the TV or bent over their phones or doing whatever. They weren't paying attention to the music. Fuck that.
I had to get off the stage and literally walk up to a man and grab his hand and look at him and go, "Hey, I love you." And he just was like,
whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then after that, once she got that engagement going, then we had people paying attention. And when they're paying attention, then they're much easier to connect with.
All right. So I'm going to go out of order from what I normally do because I think this is a great segue. I always ask musical guests this question. It's a 2-part question. Washington State answers only, please. Okay. Where's the best venue that you've played at as far as being a musician? Like, they take good care of you, the green room's nice, the stage is good or whatever. Where's the best? And I know if you say place X, you've just insulted the rest of the alphabet. But where's a room you like to play?
Well, there's a venue that's not around anymore, and it's the saddest thing. The whole community was so excited about it, and we did an album release there. We did like a re-release of an old record there.
Oh yeah, Alma.
It was an amazing space. And they were really doing a lot for their artists, and the whole artist community was able to be like, "This is a space we can all use." And
so that was Alma.
Yeah,
yeah.
Alma was in Tacoma.
Yep.
And just the corporate malfeasance came in.
And I think the Airport Tavern, we've only played one show there so far.
No, are you talking the new airport? The new Airport Tavern.
The new one. Right. It's like this huge expansion of the tiny little. We also played in that tiny little space though, when Dano first opened it. But now it's beautiful and it's so
like I said,
versatile.
We've only played the one show and it was kind of a one-off.
Yeah, it was like a Christmas thing. There was a parade going on outside, so it was like people kind of coming in and out and whatnot. But just the tiny amount of video footage and pictures we got from it, like the stage looks really beautiful, but the sound is great. Dano is a musician himself in town, so he has put so much care and effort into creating a space that the artists are really going to be like, yes. And the green rooms are gorgeous, and the staff is wonderful.
Right.
So we're looking forward to that. But I don't know.
We'll come back to the airport because there's things about the airport.
Yeah.
So the flip side of my question is,
yeah,
where do you like to go see music performed at?
Anywhere. We don't get out to see music that
but
often.
As in the audience, where's a great venue that you think when you do get to go see music performed, where is a venue that? Because what I'm finding when I talk to people is it's not always the same place. Like musicians like playing, let's just say the airport, but they might like to go see music at Alma.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, where have you seen music that you've liked being in the audience? It presents things well to the audience.
The Spanish Ballroom
That's where I was thinking.
It's a hit or miss. It depends on the act that's in there and who is running the sound.
Okay.
But it's beautiful. It's lush. We performed there. We had our last album released there, and it was really beautiful. It's a little tough sometimes with the sound because the way the room is set up.
I just went and saw a friend of ours play at the Armory. His name's Walker Sherman.
Up in Seattle?
No, up here in Tacoma.
Oh, it's in Tacoma.
The Armory in Tacoma's doing music now? Interesting. Okay.
And it was the way it was. It's like a room of the Armory.
Okay.
And it was the way it was set up was real intimate, and it was just him on stage with a guitar. He brought a dude up to play harmonica with him at one point, but it was a fantastic show. It was a great setting. I really enjoyed it, but maybe it's because I just don't get out that much to see other bands and stuff.
Well, I would like to play there for sure.
But yeah, I would love to play it.
All right, give me the transition then. Where's a place in Washington that, if you could play anywhere, where would you want to play?
Climate Pledge Arena.
No, I'd like to play them more.
More would be great.
I would like to play
What's the one? The Rialto in.
We just do really well in like theater spaces,
okay,
as opposed to like our fans, we're a very storytelling kind of act. So it's not like you just stand up and you get sweaty and you dance and you cry and whatever. And plus our fans they want to sit, they want to buy drinks, and they want to just really immerse themselves in the show.
Okay.
It's a show. It's not as much of a listen as it is a show. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, okay. So like the Neptune in Seattle would be an interesting.
Yeah.
Neptune's nice.
Yeah.
I can see the Spanish Ballroom, obviously, but you've played there already. That wasn't the question. Have you ever thought about playing the Triple Door?
We've
thought about it, and
we don't have a huge Seattle following in that. It's a really big struggle.
We need to have the draw out there.
Because they always will ask, like, well, what can you bring? And you know how it is. This is what we ran into in LA as well, because we actually lived in Ventura, and when we would get booked in LA, it's like we played the Whiskey and Roxy, those kind. We played those places, but getting people to come out and they're like, I have to pay what? And I have to buy a ticket and I have to buy a drink, and like
you got to fight for parking.
I could see you for free or for $5 or $10 here in Ventura and not have to ever worry. So that's a big struggle.
Okay, that's reasonable. I mean, unfortunately, but I see that as being reasonable. Okay,
yeah,
all right. So that's throwing me off my natural cadence. That normally comes later in the questioning.
We our best friends that live here now, they used to own an art gallery in Wenatchee. And that was one of our favorite places to play. It was called Collapse Art Gallery. Now it is.
There's Radar Station before that.
It was Radar Station.
Oh, Radar Station. Okay, I know of Radar Station. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, who is this person?
The people that owned the place were Bonnie and Phil Yenny, and their son Chad Yenny was the guy who
he ran Collapse.
He ran Collapse, but he also had like a recording studio.
But then Ron ran.
But Ron Evans,
he did Radar Station.
Yeah. But we walked in there one day and said, "Do you guys have live music?" And they're like, "Well, we don't yet." But we said, "Well, we see a piano in the back and looks like it's kind of a cool bar back there." And they're
stage
like,
and all this.
They're like, "Yeah, we're kind of trying to make a speakeasy." So we're like, "Well, let's we'll tell you what, we'll play a free show here and see how it goes." And ended up building a really cool fan base in Wenatchee, and met the owners of the art gallery. They ended up becoming like our super best friends, and then they moved out here because they've always wanted to. They lived in Wenatchee for like 45 years, so they wanted to get by the water. And both of their kids ended up. Oh, well, one of them already lived here, and the other one moved. Anyway, long story, but Wenatchee and Leavenworth are also pretty fun places that we like to.
Have you ever played in Ellensburg?
No.
There's a I can see what you do going over really well in Ellensburg.
Yeah. Okay.
There's venues that I think would cater.
Cool. Shoot us some names.
Yeah, be a good fit. I'm drawing a blank as to the one I'm thinking of right now. There's there's a gallery that's got it's a collective there, and I'll get it to you later. And I'm sorry, I just can't think of it.
Awesome. No, that's right.
But like in Wenatchee, one of the things that's happening is the wineries and the cideries have venues now, and like Union Hill over in East Wenatchee is a cider place that has a little amphitheater they built with the view of the Columbia.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And it's several people that you know and that I know, and Jessica Linwitty, she's performed there. She actually do you know Chris Jones?
Yeah.
Okay, so Chris,
was this when she was doing her thing with Chris?
Right. This is before that, but anyway, I convinced them to come over and play. My wife threw a surprise birthday party that I knew about for my 60th birthday, and I got Jessica and Chris to come over and perform there.
Awesome.
But Chris has played there as a solo artist a handful of times. Jessica's played the wineries just down the hill a little bit from there when she was performing, and those venues they're kind of fun venues in spring and summer. Not so much right now because it's cold, but during spring, summer, and early fall, I believe what you guys do would be well received here in Central Washington.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all right. 10th album. Let's talk about this for a second. So, you mentioned a few things that actually. So, is this the first album you've ever done on vinyl?
Yeah.
So this is really an album. I mean,
oh yeah.
I mean, we throw the word album around a lot, and
these are the masters right here.
These are the presses, test presses. We
is the pressing out of is that Cascade?
Cascade, yeah.
Okay. They're the
go-to.
Yeah, they're the go-to for people. I was just involved in an album release for a band called The Heats. And they re-released a show from 1979 and on a double album, and we just put it together.
Nice.
Yeah, Cascade's been. I wasn't involved with it, but Cascade's name has come up more and more and more. Okay.
Yeah.
So did you have any? Sometimes we make a big deal. It's our 10th something. It's a 10th birthday. It's the 10th year. For your 10th album, was it special, or was it just happened to be that it's the 10th album?
No, it was special in a lot of ways. One of the biggest ways, the guy that produced it is the guy that I moved out from Pennsylvania to California with. He and I were in a band together, and we moved out to California because we said at the very least we could be doing nothing somewhere nicer than Pennsylvania. And so we moved out to the beach, and we started a band out there. That was the band that kept kind of falling apart. And he and I started this studio together. Okay. And then that fell apart, and Jesse and I did Champagne Sunday, and we moved. But he did our first album at that studio. And we recently reconnected like a couple of years ago. And then one day she and I were talking, like, where would you want to do this next album? And I said, it'd be awesome to work with JP again. And
kind of come full circle.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he started his studio right around when we started Champagne Sunday. So we all were celebrating like our 20 years together.
Yeah. And then like a week later, he called me up. He says, it'd be great to get Champagne Sunday in here. We're like, dude, guess what we were just talking about? And so we made it happen. And he came up here and listened to our demo work. And he's like, this is gonna be great. So yeah, let's do this.
All right.
So that was really great to be able to get to work with him in the studio that I helped him start, and that he and I had such a history. And we did our first album. Like, there was so much going on. And the guy that played drums for this album played drums on our second album for us. Just
heading back to Ventura, kind of where we started our whole project and where our roots were, that was special to go back there, to record there, to use some of the players but what made this record really what is precious to us is the fact that for 20 years, Jared and I have been seeking identity and guidance from our producers. Or
it's like, here's the song. We're a duo, so we don't know what the hell else to do.
But we haven't always been. It's not always been just because of the duo, but it's just been because of everything, like our genre. Like, we're just always seeking.
Here, you make this sound good.
Mm-hmm. But because of our experience working with the guys we worked with on our last record, which were
Sean Simmons and Javier Garavito.
So Sean Simmons produced the first two records for Head and the Heart. And he's worked with a lot of really, really talented artists up here in Washington. And working with them was really important to us because they were kind of like, we went to them saying, hey, we really need your guidance. We need your help, whatever. And they turned the script on us and they were like, you need to make some of these decisions, and you really need to work, and you really need to figure this out. And
they sort of taught us the language of how to do all of
how
that.
to do it instead of just like either doing it for us or being like, I don't know. So by the time we went into this album, Jared and I were the most sure of who we were for 20 years.
And what the songs were. Like,
yes.
we knew how we wanted them to sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
it just feels really genuine. It just feels really genuine. I don't know how
feels really us. People that have heard it, that have gotten little sneak previews. They say this is a very Champagne Sunday album. It's like the essence of who you guys are.
Yeah, and so that we're calling it Champagne Sunday. It's like our first self-titled record, and there's just a lot that goes into it. We joke, kind of stealing like a line from Keith Richards where they said to him, don't you get tired of playing the same songs over and over again for 50 plus years or whatever? And he's like, are you kidding? I'm just starting to learn how to do it. Like, I'm
starting to get them right.
And I think that there's something silly and wonderful about that. When you've done something for so many years and you still don't think you've got it. You still work.
Right.
You still work at really figuring it out and really getting to the heart of it. And so Jared and I that's what made this one extra special. So it wasn't just, oh, it happened to be the 10th record. It was just, this one really hits home for us.
So when is the album released?
It is available on streaming May 14th. It is and then we're performing the actual album release concert on May 31st.
Yeah. But people can hear it if they want to come to a listening party.
That's what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah. That's coming up April 16th.
Yeah.
We rented out the Grand Cinema, and we're going to put it on the big screen with some visuals and the lyrics. And we're just going to all sit in the darkened theater and let the music hit us.
And then we'll do an interview afterwards and ask people how they felt about it, what they thought.
What their Washington is.
I love it. The Grand Cinemas, I think it's really cool that you can rent it out and do this. And do they have a decent sound system to put this?
We'll find out.
Well, because you're not going to bring some little portable record player like Andy Kaufman brought to Saturday Night Live and set it down and do the Mighty Mouse thing. I mean, you want it to sound good.
Yeah. Well, it'll be through the whatever speakers they've got.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess it'll sound good enough.
All right.
Maybe.
So that's April 16th. And where can people find out? Where can they get tickets? I mean,
they can go to any of our social media. Champagne Sunday Band. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and they can go to our website. There's tickets on that, champagnesunday.com.
Okay.
Or if you search on Ticket Leap.
Ticket Leap.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as it's not Ticketmaster.
No.
Have you ever done an album listening party before?
Yes, but it didn't turn out to be much of a listening party. It was more of a, hey, let's all get together and have the album on in the background while we're talking and drinking. And
okay. And so this is more of a multimedia presentation?
Tell them what you did. So I went, when Pearl Jam released their newest album, Dark Matter, they had one of these in a theater in Gig Harbor.
Okay.
And so I got tickets to that, and it was such a cool experience that I was like, this is the way to do it. Have it so that you're there with other people that are experiencing it for the first time, and make it all about the music, all about what they're experiencing. So once you get that focus, then I feel like it's going to be a better experience.
I think it's a great idea. I think well, I like the idea of experiencing the art for the first time with a group of people. I like that. I like the idea of, I haven't heard your album, but could you imagine, and I'm just arbitrarily picking like the world's most famous album when I say this, could you imagine being in a theater listening to Dark Side of the Moon for the first time with 200 people? I mean, it'd be like, I remember the first time I heard anything off of that album. I heard it.
He's gonna cry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard all the clocks that go off in that album, right?
Scares the hell out of you.
Yeah. Well, I was 12, and this sounds really weird when I say it out loud. A friend of mine was a freshman at the University of Washington, and I went up there for the weekend at 12. And we were wandering around outside somewhere out of Haggett Hall, which is one of the 9-story dormitories they had there, and somebody was blaring it from their speakers at 1 a.m. And I'm like,
awesome.
What's this? And my friend goes, oh, that's the new Pink Floyd album. You should check it out. And I did. And it was one of the first 3 CDs. When I bought my CD player, I bought 3 CDs the very first day. I gave you one of them. Here you go. Here's how my musical taste went when I bought my first CD player.
Wow. No, sorry.
Not quite. I bought Dark Side of the Moon, Prince's Purple Rain.
Yes.
And Donald Fagen's The Night Fly.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Those hold up okay. And Purple Rain, not so much. But anyway, but Prince was amazing. Okay.
First time I heard Dark Side, I saw it was when I saw it in college with, I saw it as the soundtrack to Wizard of Oz.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, they play it backwards.
What?
You got to play it backwards and it lines up. I thought it was backwards.
Oh. No, you just start it on the third lion's roar.
Okay. It's pretty fascinating. So I love the idea that you're doing a record listening party. Now, let's talk about the concert, the show at the airport.
Full band.
Full band.
Yep.
How many people is your full band?
So far, 4. We might add a 5th. We're probably going to add a 5th.
Okay.
We just need to let him know that.
Surprise! You're in the band.
You weren't here and we voted you in.
Yeah.
Right. We were thinking of having our a producer play on it as well.
Okay.
That might not work out like we're hoping it will, but anyway, yeah. So right now it's 4 of us, and it's 5 of us, because Angie. So maybe 6.
Maybe
But
6. Okay.
yeah, these were the same people that did our last album release show as well.
Okay. And the airport, what time?
Airport Tavern, doors at 7, show at 8. Okay. VIP experience at 6.
And what is the VIP experience?
It's a champagne toast and a meet and greet with the band. They also get a swag bag full of goodies that we have been procuring over the last couple of weeks.
And we're keeping the front 2 rows open for them.
And then if you buy, like, there's 2 tiers of VIP. One tier where they can purchase tickets to sit at a high top table.
Okay.
With their drinks and whatnot. You know, just some people prefer having a table to watch a show. And then the second tier of VIP is just the first two rows.
That's really exciting.
Yeah,
that's very cool. I like the attention to detail you guys are putting in here. That's what my takeaway here is that you're paying attention to your audience's experience.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have to.
I like that. Okay.
Thanks.
Previously, you mentioned you had 17 different varieties of shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And other stuff.
Yeah, but what are you guys, the Rolling Stones?
Up here, yeah. Yeah, we think we are the...
You know why? It's because I am a sucker. Because people will come to our shows and so we have 14 different shirt options, and they're looking, and they're like, oh, I wish you had whatever, XYZ. And then by the next show, I'm like, guess what we have? Because I just always want everybody to feel like there's something there for them.
Okay.
We are really like size inclusive. We're really like gender fluid. People can, it doesn't, like, we have all different kinds of colors and styles, and for people who feel like there's just nothing there to wear, we've got hand towels, we've got hats and beanies. Well, we're almost out of beanies, but we've got obviously stickers. We've got songbooks, so people can buy them for one of our records and they can learn the chords, play along. We've got USB drives that have our whole collection of everything we've done for 20 years on them for $50, which to me, I feel like, our whole career's just dwindled down to this tiny little shit stick. Mm-hmm. Like, come on. We work so hard, and look at it, it's just right there. You
could go one further and just get those little micro SD cards, the ones that are the size of your little fingernail, and really shrink it down if you wanted to.
Right.
Yeah. It's wild, but there's so much. There's something for everybody. Mm-hmm. And then there's every single way that you can get money from someone we have. So it's like QR codes, this, that, what, checks, Patreon. Doesn't matter. Patreon. We're constantly like, people go, well, I don't have cash. Or do you have a credit card? Yes. Do you have a phone? Yes. Do you have a donkey and a sack of grain you want to trade for a hoodie? Sure, let's do this.
You have a really awesome high five you can give me. I don't know.
So, all right, I got to ask this question. Okay. This is a negative question, but it's not meant to be mean. It's just negative. So you guys have experimented. You've got beanies and hand towels and 17 types of shirts, stickers, chord books. Never heard of a band that I've had on the show do chord books. So that's new. Thumb drive, I've heard that. What was that great idea? We're gonna get this, and it didn't work.
There have been several of those.
Oh yeah, we fail all the time.
There was a print, the picture,
but we sold them all.
We did sell them all, but we thought they were just going to fly off the shelves.
Right.
Our
tote bags were tough to sell. It's because the price points on them were really high, so people don't really understand that in order to make any money at all, you have to double mark up. Like you can't, it's not just like, oh, this item costs $30 to make it. We'll take 33.
Right.
No, you can't. It's like you have to double everything, What has like given me comfort over the years is that like, and Jared has to keep pointing this out to me, like, baby, people want to invest in the band. It's not just, oh, I'm buying a shirt. I'm buying a shirt to
a memento.
Yes, to a memento of this experience I had, or the way they make me feel, or I just want to help these guys out so bad. So I kind of can wrap my head around that a little bit more, but I still really go to great efforts to make sure that our clothing is up to trends. Like, we got crop tops because girls were like fully wearing those the last few years. They fully sold out.
Right.
Like, if you really think about what are people wearing, what do I like to wear? What, like, sometimes we'll do a nice fitted men's t-shirt. I'm like, would you wear this? He's like, not yet. And then he'll fix the design or whatever. And then he's like, okay, now I would.
Okay.
We had a funny experience because my face is on some of the merch, and this guy comes up and he wasn't looking at me. And he's like, oh, do you have that one in a large? Because those are totally the kind of girls I'm into. And then he like turns around and he's like,
he looks at her, he's like, oh, that's you. Huh?
That's you. And then there's this like funny moment that we share. And then he's like, well, I mean, you're totally the kind of girl I'm into, but thanks for the shirt. Like, we just have, because it's so, I mean, like, I'm with Jared. There's no, I don't pretend that I'm single or whatever, but it was so funny. But there's stuff for everybody. And what's weirder to me is the stuff we don't think is going to sell that just goes crazy.
We got this one shirt that we didn't like the fit of it. The design we thought was a little too big. And we thought, oh, that's just not going to do
It's based on a song we have called I Like You. And people, they love this song. It's goofy. It's silly. It's a song. It's like a duet between he and I.
Listen to it.
It just didn't look at all like something we thought would sell, but it flew off.
We've had to reorder it like twice because people are like, oh, it's just like a white V-neck, but it says like, I like you, really big blocky letters.
And people love it because they're like, oh, they'll go, out in public, it's like, hey, I like you.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I like you too. It's so weird. But we snuck Champagne Sunday, so it's like, I like, and then really small letters, it says Champagne Sunday, and then it's like you. But we did, it was like our inside joke. People love the damn shirt. So you sometimes are right on the money, sometimes not, but you have got to take those gambles.
Yeah.
Right. No, 100%. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people have been asking for the joggers, this like pants for years. So finally we just pulled the trigger. I was like, let's get them. So they're going to be black. And on the left leg, it's going to have our Champagne Sunday sun. And down the leg, it's going to say Champagne Sunday. Like, fine. I don't care. We'll just see. By the way, I didn't tell you, I only got 10 of those. Okay. So that we can kind of gauge if we really need to order more.
All right.
Sorry. A little business.
No, it's all good. So after the album release performance, so we got the record listening, and then we got the album, your launching party, if you will. What's next for you guys this summer? Anything on the books yet, or what are you looking for?
We got a couple of things. We're actually taking this summer off from touring. We normally do a big summer tour.
Okay. But
last year was really hard for us, and this year we said, let's stay local and hit the scene out here, because every summer we miss it.
Okay.
So this year we're staying around here, and we're gonna try and play in town. Okay. I think we might have missed the time for booking, it seems, but
I don't know. It's so weird. Like,
it's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Tacoma is always like a late bloom town anyway, because they're like, I don't know, and then they'll call you 2 weeks before. Can you play this thing? And it's like, yes. Thank God we had that open. But I don't know, spending some time at home. It may not be our most lucrative summer, but then it might actually even out, because we spend so much money when we're on the road, just living.
Right.
Gas and all this. Yeah.
So did you have an RV that you tour around in?
No, just our Honda Pilot.
We have a 2015 Honda Pilot, and we built a little thing in the back so that our son sleeps up there. And then Jesse and I sleep underneath that.
It's like a piece of plywood that we...
Yeah. I have a 2015 Honda Pilot, and I'm trying to imagine that, and I'm going, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a little tight, but it works.
What's funny is that I can sleep on the little thing on the top if I just can't, like... I mean, I can still stretch out if I go corner to corner, because I'm only 5'2", and our son is about 5'1" now.
Yeah, he's growing.
So he and I kind of trade off, like... comfort level. Sometimes I'm like, I just can't do underneath because I can't turn over.
Right.
My hips are too wide
Right.
to really turn over because that stupid board just locks you down there. It's so weird, but
Okay, so you're 5'2". I'm 6'4", and I tried to
Yeah.
sleep in the back of my Pilot. It just does not work.
That won't happen.
No.
Right.
I love my Honda Pilot, though. I mean, it's
Isn't it a great truck?
it's been.
It'll never die.
I have 225,000 miles on mine.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's great.
It's great. Okay,
That's awesome to hear.
Never talked Honda Pilot on the podcast before. That's kind of interesting. All right, so as we begin to land the plane or slow the car down in this case.
Yeah.
Pilot, get both references. All right. I'm going to get to Tacoma around lunchtime, and I'm looking for two things. Great coffee. I'm always looking for great coffee. But I'm also looking for, so you can give me, I want two separate answers, and you can both answer if they're different. I'm looking for coffee, and I'm looking for a great place for lunch. What do we got?
Valhalla coffee,
Valhalla.
and then Peaks and Pints for lunch.
Absolutely.
All right. So at Valhalla, what are you getting? What's your go-to coffee?
I'd get a mocha,
Okay.
Valkyrie blend mocha.
You can literally just get French press and just drink it black. And
I'm a drip or black,
And it's
coffee.
perfect.
Get the Valkyrie blend from
Valhalla.
Valhalla,
Okay.
and then go over to Peaks and Pints, and you can get either the roast Mary sandwich.
Okay.
It's like a roast beef and brie, is it?
horseradish. Well,
Horseradish.
There's a cheap, or the Sherpa,
The
which
Sherpa.
is unreal. It's like
Goat cheese and chicken, turkey. Yeah,
tomato. I don't even know.
it's
just
magic, and they've got great beers there too.
Yeah, and the guy that
Very
owns
good.
the place. So we made a music video.
Who owns Peaks and Pints?
Ron, what's his last name?
Can't think of it. I was gonna.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
we're
Ron something.
turds. He's in our music video. So we made this music video during COVID, and so in it you just see all these people that wanted to be in it, but they're all like wearing masks and stuff. It's so funny. But yeah, he's in it. We feature him.
And we feature Peaks and Pints in there. There's a scene where we're sticking a Walkman in a beer fridge, and that's at Peaks and Pints.
Because the whole idea was we would place this Walkman in all these different random locations and then leave. And someone would pick it up and put it on and play what was on there. Because it just says press play. And it would be our song. And then it'd be
that's
like
a cool idea.
dancing.
Good idea.
And
All
yeah,
right.
it was
We should
super
probably
fun.
say Anthem Coffee as well if you want to get good coffee, because they're great too. Blackbeard's also good.
I mean, there's just, there's great, it's, hello. There's,
Tacoma has great coffee.
yeah.
It does.
I really like
Olympia.
That's
coffee
kind
is
of
great.
a newer place
On
for
Proctor.
Tacoma. Yeah. So
Okay. All right. So this is I warned you when we were on the phone. Mm-hmm. Jared, you might not have been warned. So
Okay.
I'm springing this on you now. Jesse said you guys would play along.
yeah.
Okay.
Hit me with your best shot.
You have to answer this question. You can't not answer it. And you have to give me a reason why. Now, you both are going to have to answer this because your answers might be the same, but it could be completely different. It's very important. Are you both willing to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very simple question, but I need answers. Cake or pie?
Cake.
Pie.
Okay. Jared, why cake?
Cake.
Why?
Oh, white cake?
Why?
It's just my mood right now.
Okay. What type of cake?
My immediate thought was chocolate,
Okay.
but when I think about it, I'm like angel food.
Okay.
I really like an angel food cake.
All right, Jesse, you
Carrot
said
would be
pie.
great too.
I did say pie.
Why?
I just like really like rhubarb pie or a really tart kind of berry pie with like warmed up with vanilla ice cream or cold from the fridge. It's like sitting in there and then you eat it the next morning
Yeah.
because pie for breakfast is legit.
Okay. So follow-up
Great
question.
crust.
Follow-up
Yeah.
question. Jared, growing up as a kid in the house, was it cake or was it pie?
More often cake than pie. I
Yeah,
think.
interesting. Jesse, same question.
Pop-Tarts.
Well, that's pie.
It's little bitty poor people pie.
Well, see, it's
yeah.
interesting. I got this question. This guest was on, and due to technical difficulties, we never got the episode published. But I told her I'm stealing this idea, and so I think it's a cool question.
Yeah.
Some people are like, "You want me to cut off my left hand? Well, I can't answer this." And other people are like, "It's cake, and I'll fight you to the death. But I started asking the follow-up about when you growing up. And interestingly, most people like the same thing they grew up with.
I did not like pie growing up.
You did not?
at all.
Okay, so it's just an interesting an interesting question to me.
I liked pecan pie, I think, but I didn't like fruit pie, I guess is how I should
It took
say.
me a while to get into fruit.
And I never ate pie crust when I was growing up, ever. It gagged me. Now it's my favorite part. So
Interesting.
I don't know.
All right.
But I am so weird. I gotta tell you, I don't drink my coffee the same way ever, hardly. I'm like, sometimes it's pure black. Sometimes I want to put a whole bunch of stuff in it. Sometimes I want a half a cup. Sometimes I want 3 cups. I'm not a very consistent eater or drinker of things. Jared could probably eat the exact same meal 3 times a day for the rest of his life, or meals. Like,
It's called pizza.
No, but like, he'll eat the same breakfast, and he would eat that breakfast forever. The same dinner. You could eat grilled chicken, broccoli. and rice every single night for the rest of your life. And you'd be like, oh, why? It's fun. I'm just like, what? There are a billion flavors out there. I want to try every single one of them.
rice every now and then.
What?
I might substitute a baked potato for the rice every now and then.
Oh, look out.
Oh my
I
God.
hope you're not
Look out.
driving.
Calm down now.
So yeah. So
All right.
I'm not, I don't know.
So I'll give you the final word. Is there something we didn't cover that we should have?
Oh, we do have a music video dropping on Saturday.
On Saturday.
And a single.
And
hopefully.
a single.
Yep.
The single and the music video will drop on Saturday, and then we'll release another single. We have a couple things we didn't talk about.
Okay.
Oh, shiza. Okay. So then another single is coming out in April, but we're also doing this really cool, a couple of cool things. One where we hide our record at High Voltage Records on 6th Ave.
Mm-hmm.
We're hiding one of our records there. And if you go there and you find it, you can have it
Wow.
for free.
Okay.
They're also going to sell our albums there, which is very cool.
Very cool.
So
Rockin' Rubies as well in Paulsbo.
Okay.
are we doing it there?
Cambridge. Yep.
You talked to them?
Did I? I didn't.
Well,
left
at
a
least
lot
at
of
High
messages.
Voltage. So
Yes.
if you're in the Tacoma area, you guys should go to High Voltage and find. But I guess this is the question I have. So you're going to hide one.
Yeah.
But are you going to tell people when it's been found? Or are you just going to
Of
let people
course.
blindly search through High Voltage for hours and hours for no reason?
That'd be the way to do it, I think.
That sounds exhausting
Yeah.
to me and full of anxiety. So no, we will let people. I also want to put clues out.
As to where
We're not to that point in our marketing just quite yet. But I want to put out clues and make it so that people don't feel really overwhelmed. Because, I mean, if you just even go through one row of like the jazz section, by the time you're done with that row, you're just like, I don't care anymore. I'm done. It's just overwhelming, you know? But I'm also not one of those people who finds a lot of joy in like thumbing through comic books or records.
But some
or
people
whatnot.
do.
Some people do.
Some people do.
So we're not going to make it so easy.
Yeah,
but
and
we
people
also,
like treasure hunts.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is fun. And they like scavenger hunt, like clues and stuff like
Right.
that. And we will let our fans know when it's been found.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is that because we're releasing vinyl, we have 3 record players that we bought, and
We'll be raffling those off.
3 chances to win those record players. One will be at the listening event.
Okay.
One will be at the actual show. The night of our show, we will be selling raffle tickets, and then people will draw their name before we go on.
Okay.
And then the third chance would be this social media thing we're going to run to one of our tracks off the new record. And it'll just be them showing them doing whatever we ask them to do with our song playing.
Okay.
And then whichever one we pick, they win the record player. So 3 chances to win record players, a hidden record at High Voltage. So those kinds of things, and music video drops.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I like what you guys are doing. You're putting some thought into this. You're putting some effort into it. It's not that other musicians don't, but a lot of them don't. I mean, if we're being honest, but the people that are doing what you guys are doing, you've been doing this for 20 years. You've been your 10th album, your 17 shirts. I mean, I think that's the number that I can say 20 years. I know bands that play 20 years. 17 shirts? Come on. that's great that you guys are doing this. And I wish you continued success and future growth. So
Thank you.
thanks for sitting down with me.
Thanks
Thank
for
you for
having
having
us.
us.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed the show. You can reach me on Twitter at ExploreWaState. I'd love to hear your comments. You can also visit our website at explorewashingtonstate.com. If you know anyone who would like the show, it'd be amazing if you'd share the show with them. This is the biggest way that we grow this show. Good old word of mouth. I'm glad you were here with me today, and I hope to have you listening to the next episode. See you then.